The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome back to UAB Director's Chair. He is the athletic director for your UAB Blazers. We are 4 weeks away from college football this Saturday, and as we do this show here on this particular Thursday, it's getting down to the nitty-gritty when it comes down to protecting the College Sports Act as it runs through the House, of course, the Senate right now. Some people are saying the senators should just go home, but we're going to get the latest here from Mark Ingram. Not only that, more importantly, talk some college football and get ready for the UAB Blazers, and of course, I'm so happy for Alex getting an opportunity to really shine down there on Southside. So it's gonna be a great weekend. It's gonna be a great year, and we'll look forward to it. But first, everyone seem to be working towards trying to, and the word is the SEC and the Big Ten are moving back the goalpost, pun intended, but it's true. They are trying to move things around a little bit. Is this more the Big Ten and SEC not getting along with what the Senate is trying to do, or is this because the SEC and the Big Ten can't get on the same page?
Yeah, I just think they want to be in charge. They
Yeah.
want to make their own rules. They want to, control their own destiny and don't want to be, governed, frankly, by anybody. And I think, we had a meeting. All the athletic directors, Division I ADs met in June. Call it, I don't know, it was like the 10th, and everyone agreed that the Protect College Sports Act was not perfect, but everyone also agreed that we are better with it than without it.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem in that conversation is there was not one person from the Southeastern Conference in the meeting, and which has become a trend,
Yeah.
and it's problematic. Every other conference was represented by at least some number of ADs, and it's not like everybody shows up. People have things, they schedule a vacation, or they have a child's wedding or a funeral, or they're sick, whatever it could be. People miss these things, but we get together a couple times a year, everybody, and they've started to consistently no show as a group, and I think it's just unhealthy for the spirit of conversation about anything. So, point being, they aren't able to express their frustration or issues or concerns to the rest of us. And so therefore we don't understand where they're coming from really all the time. And, but as we've talked about on the show before, I think the benefit of the Protect College Sports Act is it creates antitrust exemptions so that the NCAA can start to enforce the rules that it has
Mm-hmm.
and stop being sued by everybody because they're taking on, the number of lawsuits they're taking on is, it's just it's countless, and it's because the student athletes that are filing the lawsuits don't have a penny, but their lawyers are saying, "Hey, I'll work for free." It's the whole "I only get paid if you get paid," and so the student athlete's like, "Sure, what do you need from me? You just need me to make a couple statements and fill out some paperwork, maybe write a little letter. Yeah, I can do that over what could turn out to be a full year of eligibility or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sure."
What the more I read on this, the more I look into it, and of course, I love having you on every single week because you are right there in the forefront. You know what's going on as an athletic director, and I think everyone wants to get a deal done. It doesn't mean we won't have college football if we don't get a deal done. We can still play, we can still do it. It'll just be still kind of wild and crazy, and probably not fair as far as in what we see on the football field to some extent. It feels like the SEC doesn't want to get a deal done. And I know when they threw out that word last week about leaving the NCAA, that freaked some people out. I think that was more of a bluff. But I mean, what they're asking for is like they want everything. They want the kitchen sink, and of course, Panetti's pretty much he's right behind Greg Sankey. And the funny thing is having been down. And having a lot of people on the ground down there in Tampa this past week, no one's really talking about this, which is really surprising to me. It's one of those things where I don't know if it's the SEC saying don't ask us about it, but you would think that would be the hot button topic, and I haven't heard anything coming out of the SEC media days about this.
Yeah,
It's weird.
it's okay for them to want their cake and eat it too, metaphorically. I mean, that's fine that they want it, but everything is about compromise. Every positive relationship, whether it's your marriage or your friendships or a business relationship, everything requires some compromise. And I'm not saying they're not willing to compromise because again, they're not participating with the rest of us. So I can't really speak to more than what I've read or what you've
Yeah.
read or what people see in the news. They're trying to spend more money than what was originally offered by the Protect College Sports Act, which that by itself creates separation from them and everybody else. The Big Ten has larger alumni bases than every other conference as a whole.
Hmm.
You look at
By far.
when you're down here in the South and we think about Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee and Florida and these big schools, LSU, and Texas is big, and Texas A&M is big. But anyway, you think about these big schools and we are not as aware unless we've been, and most of us have not. But if you haven't been to Ohio State and Penn State and Michigan, like these schools are massive. Their alumni bases are massive. Indiana is massive. Wisconsin's massive, and so these rules really benefit them, the Big Ten, because they have such a large number of people.
Yeah,
Uh,
I want to say 7 or 8 of the top 10 teams, the alumni are out of the Big Ten. And just to kind
yeah,
of put it in perspective, Indiana has 4 times as many as alum as Alabama does.
yeah, that's
So,
what I'm
so
saying. It's
if you want to put this in church mode, if everyone would just pitch a quarter in the basket would be okay. But if every alumnus for Indiana the Hoosiers just threw in
yeah.
$20, you'd have more money and you know what to do with.
Yeah, it's the mistake we all make, regardless of what team we pull for. We think that everybody knows everything about us. We think every time that something doesn't go perfectly right, that the whole world is looking at us, which is false. We look at things through green glasses or crimson glasses or navy blue glasses or whatever, orange glasses, and we think the world is revolving around us and that we're the center of the world, and we're just not. And everybody does it. It's not just, any one particular group. And, it's not until you really open your eyes and go, huh, I wonder, let me take a look at Indiana. How big is Purdue? How big
Mhm.
is Penn State or how big is Rutgers? Rutgers is a huge school, by the way. People don't
Yeah.
think of Rutgers as some powerhouse athletically, but there's like 55,000 students. It's not a small place. And, but until you really dig into it for yourself and look, you don't know that. So anyway, it's an error that we make in all sorts of ways.
Is there any Achilles heel for the SEC? Is there anything at all that you could think of they that you could get them on? And I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm an SEC fan. I want to see it well, but I mean, everyone's got a soft spot. Do they have a soft spot
It's
anywhere?
probably that. It's probably what we're talking about. I mean, they're not small, but they're smaller,
Yeah,
in terms of alumni, and they have big stadiums, but so does the Big Ten. Again, I've been to Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. Those stadiums are big, man.
yeah.
Wisconsin's big. Those places are not. They're not little. I mean, even Indiana, and I've been to Indiana to their football stadium. I'm trying to think of who I might compare. I mean, they're at least as big as say Mississippi State. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not little. They're not as big as Alabama, no, or Auburn, but they're not small by any means. So yeah, probably just that.
That's kind of crazy. He is the UAB athletic director. Mark Ingram joins us every single week here for the UAB director's chair right here on Tony Curry Radio. Of course, you can hear this podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast. It does really, really well every single week. So continue to listen and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on. The NCAA seems like it's lost another battle in the court of public opinion. This story just came out about 22 hours ago. In a world in which college athletes are being paid millions of dollars, it looks as though the NCAA is still harping on the small things like a plane ticket. Tennessee linebacker Arian Carter has been suspended 2 games by the NCAA for accepting a flight paid by an NFL agent after he decided that he would try his hand at professional football after the 2025 season signed with a representation. Um, the NCAA provided a statement on suspension. It says NCAA rules are clear. Student athletes may not sign with agents to pursue NFL draft opportunities, and this student athlete knowingly violated these longstanding rules. When student athletes violate NCAA rules, the schools declare them ineligible and works with the national office to determine requirements for reinstatement, which can include repayment or with withholding from competition. This
Yeah.
is it's so funny because $427 for a plane ticket, and I can't believe that or if you're you like the NCAA, you're kind of like just shut up and go away till we can figure out what to do
But
with you.
The
What?
NCAA is like any other governing body. Like we all complain about the federal government. We don't really have any idea what they do all day, in the White House or on the cap in the Capitol. We don't really know what's happening in Senate unless you're sitting there watching, Senate hearings and proceedings all day, which very few people I would say do. So I guess the issue is that he signed with that NFL agent, which is different than the agents. When we use that word agent, like every athlete we have in football and men's basketball and some other sports, but every football and men's basketball player probably has representation.
Okay.
We will commonly call them an agent. Very few of them have law degrees. Very few of them have experience beyond trying to get
But
a
if you
deal.
have a representative from the National Football League, is that where?
That's different, and
Okay.
it's not from the NFL. It's an agent who represents NFL players. These guys they are registered with the NFL. There's no registration for these kids in college, which is part of Protected College Sports Act, is that they would required to, these agents would have to be cleared through some sort of clearinghouse and registered. So these agents, the one we're talking about with this guy from Tennessee, he signed with an actual legitimate sports agency, which the NCAA precludes. And then he intended to enter the draft.
What is the
Stated
difference? I
he
don't. I
declared for the draft, and then he started to work out for the draft and work out for scouts, and he got hurt,
Yeah.
and then decided, okay, wait a minute, that could hurt my draft status. I'm going to withdraw from that. I'm going to try to withdraw from the draft. Let me go through this process, and I'm going to try to go back to college. And that has been a thing in basketball, but has not been a thing in football, permitted. And, again, why there's a lot of inconsistency sport by sport with our rules, which I think, that we could spend all day talking about
Does that
that.
go with the NBA too? You cannot get with an
No, that's what
NBA.
I'm saying. In the NBA, you can actually declare for the draft. You can go to some workouts. You can see what your draft stock looks like. Yaxel Lindeborg did this.
Yeah, but
Yaxel left us when he left us. His initial intentions were to go to get to the NBA draft, and he was projected to be a late first round draft pick.
yeah,
And then probably just through that and looking at, okay, what's interesting about the NBA is they only have 2 rounds, and there's a bunch of guys that get drafted that don't ever actually make the NBA roster. So that's what's different about the NBA than the NFL. You would almost never see a guy get drafted in the NFL and also not make the roster,
yeah.
the 52-man roster. Has it happened? Of course it's happened, but it's not, it's more rare, but it's pretty common in the NBA.
So I can
So then he ended up going to Michigan. He withdraws from the draft and he goes to Michigan.
if I so I'm a football player at a university. I can have my uncle, I can have my cousin, I can have anyone represent me as an agent, but they just can't be affiliated with the National Football League, correct?
Well,
As an agent.
no, I mean, you don't have to have representation at all to be drafted and sign with the NFL. But the NFL requires, a person who is acting as an agent. I mean, I guess your uncle might could just serve as an advisor, but otherwise, if they're
Is
going to
that, I
take
mean,
money
is
from
that
you,
is that
this is
is
part
that
of the NFL Players Union. It's the part of the NFLPA,
yeah,
and it's to protect the players so that let's just use that uncle example. So the uncle isn't taking more than 4% from your paycheck because you don't know any better.
gotcha. Wow. I mean, every day something else happens, and I thought those days were gone. I thought you could do. I thought when they said
I
Wild Wild
know.
West, I thought
Yeah.
you could do whatever. You're like, well, it's a $427 plane ticket.
Yeah, I think it's less about the money and it's more about the act of declaring for the draft, signing with this, this representation, this agent, who's qualified and registered with the NFL,
Yeah,
and then going through the process of, being viewed as a draft pick and then trying to come back, which they really just don't allow. So the fact that they're going to let him play at all really is probably a big deal. And I bet the fact that they're letting him play is because it was only that 450 or 70 or $20, whatever it was, which he apparently paid back to the agent.
yeah, and it's a two-game suspension, which is okay. I don't even know who Tennessee's playing right offhand, but obviously the first game maybe
I
not.
think
So
Georgia Tech is one of the teams.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's interesting. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. I always get a lot of email questions, and I'm glad I'm checking this out because I got one here from another guy who does a show on our radio station, Dr. Rab Stewart, who's with the Rossbridge Animal Hospital. He wants to know, ask Mark if he was at either one of the Usher Chris Brown concerts down at your home base down there. It was the third time we've had an artist play at your home field, Protective,
Yeah.
down there, and he wants to know if you made it to either one of those shows.
I missed out on those.
Yeah.
But we had a bunch of our staff went down there and they said it was fun, you know. I mean, the fact that it
It's a
sold
great
out two
place for a
nights,
concert. Yeah.
sold out 2 nights,
Yeah.
so good for them, you know, and it's showing there's a lot of artists, not, you know, while it's been predominantly country, it's not completely. A lot of artists are seeing these college venues as a really good place to go, and what they're tapping into is these fan bases who go there to fill up a football stadium.
Mm.
The schools have parking that they've identified because they use them for their game days, so they have a parking plan, and the fans have been to the stadium for football games, so they know, you know, getting around. It's not like they're going to some field where they have to like go, okay, we got a blank canvas. So the good news is we have a blank canvas. The bad news is we have a blank canvas and we got to figure it all out, you know.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of infrastructure and process and how many ushers do we need and ticket takers and all that stuff, security that's kind of already figured out. There's obviously using the field and how we're going to do that, and staging is new, but there's this growing trend that these artists are realizing that tapping into these group of people, and it's almost the alignment with the university and that brand.
Hmm.
So being able to go, and I don't know that that's happening here at Protective as much because it's not on our campus,
Yeah.
but you see these guys go to LSU and Alabama and Auburn and wherever they go, Tennessee, and they go out there and they put on a jersey of the school, and instantly
Hmm.
50, 80, 100,000 people, however many people are at the event, instantly love you, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just like, oh, just sold more music, you know,
Yeah.
and just made more fans. So I think it's smart. But yeah, I
Yeah.
heard the show was great.
Hey, before I forget, I'll throw this out there while we're doing our show. Need to get Coach Mortensen's contact stuff. I think I get his phone number. I want to get him on our television show on ABC 3340 in the starting
Yeah.
lineup on ABC 3340. I'm going to be gone next week, but the following week we'd like to get him on. So stick that little bug up his in his hat there a little bit. What's he been going through? Obviously, his first full year as head coach of a major program. Have you been kind of staying out of the way? Or are you a micromanaging kind of guy? What do you do?
No, I'm a micromanaging guy, not a micromanaging kind of guy at all. You hire good people and let them do their job, you know. But he and I stay in contact all the time. You know, the summer is interesting. It's the only time that either of us can take vacation, but it's also when the coaches have camps. So they got
Hmm.
kids running through there. Some of those camps are to identify talent. Some of those are say youth camps where you're really teaching and you're kind of reading fans a little bit and you're
Yeah.
teaching. Um, the game. And one of the things he did this year that I thought was really smart was he did a flag football camp for young ladies. We don't have flag football at UAB as a sport, though there are some universities starting to adopt it. But it is a varsity sport in the state of Alabama for high school. And as he and I were talking, I said, "Hey, look, these young girls don't have anywhere. They've never gone somewhere where they could learn how to properly throw and catch, how to properly take a
Love it.
pursuit angle to tackle. I mean, it's pulling a flag, but it's the same idea. The concepts are the same. How do you properly cover a receiver? How can you do that? You know, these are things that are fundamentals that our little boys have done, but these girls have never done. And now all of a sudden, they have this opportunity to play flag, which is great. It's becoming super popular." And so anyway, I mean, I don't know the total number, but I was there at camp and looked across the field, and I mean, there had to be 200 or 300
That's great.
high school age girls there for camp, which was awesome, and it really was a teaching learning. But that's their whole June is consumed with a day of camp, a day or two off, day of camp, day or two off. You know, they're kind of getting ready for camp and doing camp, and then July they take vacation and then come back third week of July, and they're getting all the kind of final details of their practice plans, going through, okay, the first day of camp. And I mean, they go day by day. Okay, day one looks like this, day two looks like this, day three looks, and it's meetings, it's film session, it's strength, it's actual practice. What are we accomplishing? And then there's also these meetings, like we had one this morning with volleyball. uh, we would just call it their beginning of year compliance meeting, where there's all these forms and paperwork that they have to fill out. There's all these reminders about don't cheat, don't gamble, don't, whatever, these sort of things. We talk about sexual violence and ways to report through Title IX office. And hey, we're always here to help you, and you have resources around you. Like, there's just all these, call it housekeeping items, that you go through with each team.
Mm-hmm.
So football's going to have theirs on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Even though football doesn't really leave anymore in the summer, their official report date is Sunday, and that's when they begin their practicing. You can start practicing 30 days before your first game, so they'll be getting after practice starting Monday.
I'm super excited. I mean, whenever a guy comes in for the first time, and I know that he's got a lot on his plate. He's got a lot of things, but just the fact that he's going to be doing everything his way, and I want to see what that way is. And obviously, we've got some things we need to work on from an offensive and a defensive and special team standpoint. But I'm really excited for him in his new year, and we'll see what happens. But anytime
Yeah,
you
I
have a
think
new
he'll do
coach,
great. He's got a
yeah.
great staff, and I think they recruited really well. And so, fingers crossed, all of us together, that people can stay healthy.
Hmm.
We did suffer a pretty serious injury in the spring, but hoping that person will be back, not for game one, but call it after the third game. And, but otherwise, I think, well, we had two pretty serious injuries. One will not be back this season, but one we think will be back for the third game. So I think that's good. And again, if we keep everybody else healthy, I think we're in good shape.
UABsports.com, UABsports.com. Go Blazers. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. We'll catch you up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. Go Blazers.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.